Brett Bielema, head coach, University of Illinois.
Coach, year 4 in Champaign. How close is this program to where you want it to be?
We're making steps. I don't think we'll ever be satisfied where we're at, but I do like the progress we made. Obviously, as a program, you always want to be measured by your wins, right? And the more wins we get, the better we'll be. But I really like the development of our roster. I like that I know my roster. I've had some additions through the portal that we think will really help us this fall. So excited about the season ahead.
Under center, what improvements do you want to see from Luke Alm?
Luke has got an incredible amount of talent. Got a good arm, also got some pretty live feet. But the part that I think he needed to make progress is just communication, understand the game. We don't want to give the game away, right? Like we had some interception issues in a couple games, but I really like the development he's made. I like the presence that he's had this summer, especially with our football team, and really excited about the room in general.
You lose some wide receivers to the NFL, but we saw a productive year from Pat Bryant, who seems to be even taking on a bigger leadership role. What have you seen from him from a growth perspective over his time now, a couple of years at Illinois?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. His maturity level is just really, not that he was bad before, it's just right. I think when you get thrust into this moment, Casey Washington, Isaiah Williams, those guys out of the building, it forces you to have a leadership type role. Had a lot of younger players that needed some guidance, got some guys from the portal coming in, and Pat's just been awesome working with them and getting them up to speed.
You get a big transfer too in Zakari Franklin. How do you think they can kind of complement each other? Because we saw Pat played inside and outside last year. We know Zakari's done that as well. What do you expect from him?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they complement each other very well. I think Pat especially knows when you have talent where you're at, but if there's talent on the opposite side of where you're at, that causes coverages to tilt and do things that just make your game a little bit better. So I think to have another talented receiver on the field at a time with Pat is going to be a benefit to everybody.
This defense during your time with this program has had star talent, NFL early pick kind of talent. How do you get this group to kind of follow their path? Those are big expectations for them, but how do you do it?
Well, I think the recipe that made those guys successful is there for them as well. They've been able to watch Johnny, they've been able to watch Spoon, they've been able to watch guys have success really at all different levels, up front, in the back end, and in between. So they got to put their trademark, right? This is obviously the 2024 season, but it's their opportunity now to shine. Got two guys here today, and Gabe and Seth, who I think could be premier players, not just in our conference, but across the country. And I think this is their time to shine.
4 new teams in this conference. It feels like a crazy change. Obviously, more challenges come with that. What are those, having these teams in the conference now?
Well, for our schedule, we'd play Oregon this year, right? And to play at Oregon, just to travel, the logistics, we'll actually go out a day early, right? Which is different for our guys. We've never done that before. So there's some obviously geographic challenges that our guys are going to have to undertake. We only go west one time, and that's the way it's laid out the next 3 years. We go west one time. We go to Washington next year, and then USC, UCLA the 2 years after that. But I think the biggest thing that will just their brand of football, right? Like in this league, we've had divisional play as long as I've been coaching in it, right? And to now have that, we don't play Wisconsin next year. We don't play Iowa, right? We don't play teams that we've traditionally played in the past. So it's an exciting, challenging time, but it is what it is, and got a 12-game schedule to prove it.
This college football landscape, it's constantly changing, evolving, more challenges. What is becoming harder about coaching college football right now?
I don't know if it's becoming harder. It's just there's an evolution there that you mentioned that, there's never been a time, this is my 16th year as a head coach, there's never been a time in my career where I've been more excited just to be able to change things in a hurry, right? This portal world, everybody wants to talk about the negatives. I'm telling you, from a coaching perspective, the ability, if you're thin at a certain position, to be able to go out and acquire a player, even a certain age type player, to be able to come in. You mentioned Zakari earlier. He's got over 40 career starts. We got a couple DBs that have had 20-plus career starts that just automatically walk into our building. The value on that and the price tag on that is very high.
Did coaching in the NFL for a couple years help in any way with that transition? Because there's
just
so much player movement in the pros, and now we see it in college.
Yeah, and I've said it all along, and I don't mean this in a jokingly way. Some people talk about the portal world being free agency, but it's exactly what it is. Like I know, some teams are playing the money game that high, but for the most part, it allows you to acquire talent at a specific position that fills an automatic void that you have, and I think that's my time in the league definitely helped me see that.
100th year at Memorial Stadium. What makes it such a special place?
Well, I think just the name itself is Memorial Stadium. Obviously, we have 100 columns in our stadium. At the base of every one of those columns is the name of a fallen soldier from Illinois. So there's a lot of really cool history to it. It's funny, we actually did a presentation to our team 2 years ago, and some things were brought to their attention about the stadium they had never known. And I'm literally coming to work the next day and I see guys up in the stadium reading some of the things that we were talking about. So there's some history there. Obviously, Red Grange and his time in college football, not just at Illinois, but his impact on the game, and to have that be a 100-year anniversary game against Michigan, almost to the exact date, is pretty special.
What do you look back on from last year that you kind of preach this year to be a bigger factor in the conference? Things you kind of learned from when you had adversity last year that can help you challenge for the conference.
We always talk that you actually learn more in moments of adversity
Right.
than you do in moments of success. And as I look back on it, one of the core values in our program that we talk about, our DNA of our program is what we call TSD, tough, smart, dependable. And I think we got to focus on those things as players and coaches. When we show up in a stadium, if we have a chance to be the toughest, the smartest, and most dependable team on that field, we'll have a chance every day of the week, right? So I'm excited to incorporate some of those values that we talk about and preach them into the season.
It's pretty clear how much you love this program from
Yep.
your energy, but what is it that you love about being at Illinois year
Well,
after year?
I am an Illinois guy, right? So it's my home state, but also just I think my journey as a 54-year-old man, but also 16-year head coach. I always say this, right? Like I have a notebook that I've carried for this job for 34 years, right? And that notebook, on the inside cover, it has a quote that says, "Every player deserves a coach that believes in him." And those 3 players I brought today, I've had a journey with them since I've been with them, and to see them achieve their goals and achieve the things that they've dreamed of as a kid, those are the most fulfilling things in my time, right? And yes, the wins are awesome and everything that goes with it, but when you see guys achieve their goals, that's what's really special.
Thanks, Coach.
Absolutely.